What's going on, everybody? Payneblade back here again from server 1 representing ISC. Guys, sorry about no video yesterday. It was a crazy busy day, but we're back at it today. We got a podcast out already. Just want a quick thing for you guys. The Tumbler is the last day on sale. Check out the description. You guys can take a look and see, get your own custom one or a Payneblade one. Put you in a draw for $100 Canadian in May from a 1 year anniversary. But we're not here for that, guys. We're here to talk about the tier list. We're going to do this a little different this time, guys. So I want to give a quick shout out to my boy Boruto for all of his time with the Reddit one, but I've decided to go ahead and make a different one with a different team at the moment. Not that his is irrelevant or anything. His is actually just as relevant, so go check out the Reddit. It will still be posted on my description, but this one here is from my team that I worked with, and we did this a little differently, and I wanted to have it on the NXP website that Patman actually uses. So if you go to the database, which is also linked in my description, you can see the quick shout out that I have here for AJ for Days, Blue, Classy, DJVJ, Karingan, Patman, myself, and Slim. Now, these are people who are whales, dolphins, and free-to-play who have finished all the content that are out from M2 to Abyss 40, and I want to get these brains together to work on the best possible tier list for you guys, in my opinion, and I believe we kind of accomplished that. So let's talk about it. What we've done here, guys, for ranking purposes, we're going to compare 7-star rares with LB2s to SRs that are 6-star with LB2s to 5-star URs with LB2. So that's the ranking. You can kind of see it on there. The creators of this list, as I mentioned, are people who have actually completed all content, so we're able to use different teams, different methods, different strategies to actually go ahead and help you guys figure out what teams are best for you. And again, these are whales, dolphins, free-to-play players who are at that level. Majority of, actually all of these guys are all on my Discord, so that kind of helps out as well too. So just a quick disclaimer though, this is a tier list. That's what I'm saying. Boruto's is just as relevant, so you guys can go to the Reddit version and look at his as well too, or you guys can jump on here and do it. Okay, so today we're going to be focusing on the actual PvP portion of it. All right, so let's start off with that. Now, if you go to the website and hit the tier list section right here, it's actually already built in for you. You can do a global one, which will cover everybody globally across the board, or you can do PvP and PvE. So today, though, we're going to start with PvP, guys, and we'll start off with Asuma. So if you take a quick look at it here, there's an overall ranking that's right on this section. I'm going to scroll down real quick and show you that. And then there's different pages worth right there. And what we're going to focus on realistically, guys, is where they are in Arena and NWT, and we'll do that. We'll forget the overall ranking. You can see that later. Obviously, it's just an average of both. All right. So if you click on the actual filter, guys, you'll notice that you can actually filter based on the score. So we're going to start off with the 10s, and we're going to do Arena and NWT side by side for the units. Okay, so we're going to start off with the 10s in Arena. So Kakashi gets 10 and 10 in NWT. Easily one of the best damage dealing units. We've talked plenty about him, so we're not going to talk about it, but instant jutsu, stun, crit damage, crit, etc. Right? So 10-10 for both. The new Naruto, Kid Naruto, definitely deserves 10-10. The best tank in the game is an A, so it's a D nuke to A units, has the highest DRR up for everybody, makes people almost impossible to kill, so highly deserves that. KCM 10 and 10 for sure, gives the best buffs. If he gets damage first and you're slower than your opponent and he survives, if you pair him with a really good tank, for example, like Kid Naruto, he'll go back to full health, give you the best buffs in the game, and then starts doing insane damage. So definitely deserves 10 across the board for both NWT and Arena. Rene, same thing. Best F2P character they ever released. The Confused, the DIR down, the insane damage. So overall, a really stellar unit. 10 and 10, of course, for both of those. And he's a 5k vitality, of course. And then Sai gets a 10 in Arena, but he loses a little bit in NWT. And the reason why Sai loses a little bit in NWT is it is 3-on-3. He can have sometimes less protection, and he's a little bit of a glass cannon, so he can die sometimes, but still one of the best units in WT, and we gave him an 8 for the survivability aspect, but the chakra part is still insane. As I personally use him with CM2 and Kid Sasuke and give CM2 an instant jutsu, making me have the advantage right away, so you can do things like that with Sai, but he does die a little quicker. Sasori 10-10 across the board as well too. Super hard to kill, hardest hitting D AoE unit, also has some of the best buffs in the game and debuffs in the game, so definitely deserves that. And then last 10 we have is Sasuke Habi Uchiha, the original OG one, which is 10 and 10, double stun, insane crit rate, great crit damage, DIR up in his LB2, so again making him 10 out of 10 for both of those categories. All right, going to our 9s now. Regular Jiraiya 9 and 9. The reason why he's getting that is, of course, he gives himself chakra. You can now make him instant jutsu, gives you the tribe gauge up, gives incredible buffs when he's alive, gives even better buffs when he's dead. So across the board, really hard to kill as well. Definitely gets the 9 and 9 there. He can also make you do tribes a little quicker in NWT, giving you more points if you pull off a tribe. So Sage Mode Jiraiya gets a 9 for Arena, but a 10 in NWT just because of his self heal and his stun and his vitality. Almost impossible to kill sometimes, guys, if you have a really good Jiraiya setup. So really really stellar character on both. And then we have Mei, who pretty much took over Itachi's spot. Has a 9 and a 9, incredible buffs, really good damage. Doesn't hit as hard as Itachi does, but her buffs alone are way better. And also her trait, the fact that it's less ninjutsu damage and tribe special damage, making instant jutsus and second turn jutsus do almost no damage at all to you, making her really, really good in both content right there. So that is your 9 in the first page. We're going on to the second page. Mitsuki, really, really good character for a T, guys. One of the best nukes out there for T units and one of the best debuffers. Does DIR down, does critical rate down, does a stun, hits super hard, and has crit rate up on himself before he does his jutsu. So amazing character for both pieces of content. We have Six Tails, best AoE damage dealer in Arena. Loses a little bit in NWT because he actually gets stronger as the turns pass, and NWT is 3-on-3, so he loses a little bit there, but still force to be reckoned with. Really good character. Obito, same scenario, 9, a little bit of a glass cannon in Arena, but can one-shot units no problem. Has the highest DRR for a unit, a little bit less than obviously Shikamaru's T unit, but does way more damage. And then of course, being the glass cannon here as well too, he gets an 8. If he can survive, he'll pretty much one-shot units. If he doesn't survive, you know, he gets killed. So pretty straightforward there. Then we have Mama Sakura, so 9. OG unit, still one of the best units out there in the game for an SR. Does almost no damage, but has an AoE stun, has great buffs, has great debuffs. So overall, deserves a 9. But in PvP NWT, she loses a little bit because she does so little damage, and the buffs and debuffs really don't impact that much because it's not a long fight. So giving her a 7. Of course, the AoE heal helps, but it's not enough to put her anything over. Kid Sasuke, definitely 9 and 9. A little lower than his counterpart Naruto because there are so many other A units out there that do a lot, but he does bring something crazy to the game, and that is the A unit chakra to active allies, and it actually does allow you to do instant jutsus with people like Jiraiya and the character below, which is CM2. Now going to CM2, the best stunner in the game. Gives you a great attack buff if you're faster than all of your opponents in the cells, and also gives you a crazy skill too. But yeah, pairing him with Sai and Kid Sasuke gives you an instant jutsu, making his arena status a 9. And just the same scenario, he's just a little bit of a glass cannon as well too. So he gets an 8 in NWT. Sasuke Kirin, OG Sasuke Kirin, 9 and 9 for sure. DRR down, AoE stun. 30% more to defense units in terms of attack, how much that's his nuking ability, and then of course the attack up and the DIR up on his trait and LB2, so definitely deserves that. Alright, going over to our 8s guys. Boruto, 8 and 8 across the board, definitely deserves it. One of the hardest hitting nukes in the game for a T unit, hybrid unit as well, gives you DIR plus survivability with GRR and other skills to keep you alive, so definitely deserves that in Arena and in NWT. His only real issue is the fact that he didn't have the 5k vitality. He would just be too good if he did. Chiyo, really, really good unit, has come a long way. One of the best single heals in the game. Only one that actually scales off max HP of the unit, so that makes it like heal for like 150k to 200k to some units, and also has speed down, has a great if you're slower than your opponent, a GR, I think it's guard rate up, and also an NWT, making her really formidable, and also she's a 5k vitality, making her hit really freaking hard for a T unit. So not a bad unit overall, guys. If you have her, now's the time to build her, and great in other PvE content, which we'll cover later, of course. All right, going to Danzo. D-nuke, great debuffer, incredible buffer overall. If he dies, he's even better because he gives additional debuffs to the opponent. But while he's alive, guys, he's just a force to be reckoned with. So really hard to kill in NWT, so we gave him a 9 because of the damage and the buffs that he provides, but an 8, a little bit less in Arena because there are better tanks than him out there, right? So going to the other 8s here, guys. So Datara OG, 8 and 6. Now the reason why he got an 8 in Arena is because he provides you a stun, defense down, critical rate up, and critical suppression up, plus crit damage up. So a lot of buffs to give you, right? But in NWT, because it's only a very short battle, he's a little squishier, so a little easier to kill. So he gets a 6 there. Yes, his buffs are great, but they're not justifiable enough to give him anything higher there. Now going to the second version of this Datara, if you pair him with the proper tanks and people start dying, and he starts doing his skill too, and with his trait, he can start one-shotting units. Now we've all used him in our squad and all agree that he is a force to be reckoned with if he can stay alive. Now the catch is he needs to obviously survive. If people are dying around him and he's surviving, he's one-shotting cells. There's been a lot of controversy behind Sublime. We still think he deserves to be up here in PvP, especially if he can survive, right? Pair him with tanks and you'll see some crazy things happen. All right, Gaara, OG tank, would have been a 10 back in the day, now is an 8, gives you insane guard rate, guard damage rate, gives you defense up with his LB2, gives you chakra back, just overall a stellar unit still, and still can be used in both content. Better in NWT because he soaks hits a lot easier, a little less in arena because obviously the damage is lackluster. But speaking of tanks that can do damage, we have the same rating here, but Hidan does better damage. But the only difference with Hidan is he does status effect suppression, which gives the opponent a less chance to stun you or do burn or poison, but he only affects A units with his buffs. That one affects everybody, but this A units only get specific buffs. So giving him the same score as Gaara, but overall damage-wise, guys, he's a much better unit, and he gets a 9 in NWT because he's really hard to kill if you pair him with the right units. All right, so Itachi Uchiha, Criminal, 8 and 9. Now, he was a 9 and 9 originally. He's dropped off only because Mei kind of took over. The only difference between the two of them in terms of damage is Itachi does 30% more in D units, plus he gives you attack up and crit damage rate with his LB2, where Mei gives you a lot more protection and a lot better buffs with her Jitsu. So she gets the leg over, but Itachi is still a fantastic unit. All right, going to childhood Kakashi, 8 and 8. Amazing jack of all trades. Buffs A units, D units, debuffs A units and D units, and gives T units a buff as well too for attack, and gives everybody a buff if you're faster than the cell. So making him a really good unit for pretty much every piece of content, guys. So he gets an 8 and 8. Kisame Sharkskin gets also an 8 and an 8. Now he has fantastic buffs on his Jitsu. Gives himself 3k chakra as well too, in order to continuously doing his Jitsu nonstop. Plus if you have his LB2 and somebody dies, everybody gets chakra back for it. So making him a little bit of a chakra battery, not as good as Sai obviously, but still it's there to support you if you need it. The only problem with him is his traits are really low percentages, and they do stack, but in places like NWT and Arena, you won't really feel them that much there. All right, brand new Madara Uchiha White Mask. Now, we gave him an 8 in Arena and a 10 in NWT. The reason why I got so high in NWT is his guard rate is stupid high. Like, we're talking about 50% with his skill too. So if that procs in NWT, pretty much everyone's surviving that round, even if you're slower or faster. And the next round, essentially, you're getting free shots, and the opponent's doing almost no damage to you. The reason why I got an 8 though here is that one turn won't matter as much in Arena. Like, it still does matter, but it's too much RNG to see who attacks next and who's being affected by it. So he gets a little bit lower there. The reason why he's lower than SMJ, guys, as well too, is the SMJ has better overall healing and survivability because he obviously has a built-in heal, and his burn obviously really does help as well too when you pair him with people like Sasori and other stuff. So he has a status effect in there as well as a stun. So giving him a little bit of a leg up on Arena, but this character is much better in NWT for sure in terms of helping your units, but SMJ will still be a better unit for survivability, so for himself. So both are really good. Pair them together, that works as well too. All right, going to Minato. Now Minato is probably the best T unit nuke in the game. 5k vitality, DRR down before the Jitsu, has the multiplier of attacking first, of course, and also does the DIR up to the cell with his skill 2, and also everybody for skill 2 and his cell for his LB2, making him just hit so freaking hard. The only reason why he's an 8 and an 8 here, guys, is because he's a little squishier being a T unit, so he can die fairly quickly, but still one of the best nukes out there. Highly recommend using him if you have him. Sasuke Uchiha Hebi SR version, the free to play, the previous best free to play unit. Still a really good unit, guard rate up, status effect up, he has stun, so giving him an 8 in Arena makes sense. 9, he's even better in NWT, so feel free to use him if you have him. A fantastic unit. All right, we're almost coming to the end of our 8s, guys. So Shikamaru for Arena is an 8 and 7 in NWT, just brings way too much to the table. Highest DRR in the game, DRR down in the game I should say, gives DRR up for T units, attack up for T units on his trait. Overall just has a stun, so a 1-turn stun, so just in general a super good unit to use in both piece of content. A little less in NWT because he is a little squishier, but he does bring a lot more in Arena. And then that brings us to Toby, also an 8 and an 8. So probably has become one of the most important units in the game, especially probably the second most important SR next to Sai. Has the highest DRR percentage of anybody in the game if you combine them all. Pretty much nukes D units no problem, makes you hit harder on D units, and at the same time has a burn and a stun, giving him easily an 8 and 8 there. And now going to our 7s, guys. So now we're going to approach, so a 7 now I believe is a A. So this is an A, okay? So Asama here is 7 and 8, so great GRR unit, fantastic for keeping people alive and himself because he does buff himself as well too. And then of course an 8, that's going to matter a little more in NWT for survivability than Arena. Boruto 7 and 7, still one of the hardest hitting SRs in the game, even though he's an OG unit. Unfortunately, Glass Cannon giving him a 7 and a 7. Darui 7 and 8, 8 of course in NWT being a tank, he does buff tanks to hit harder. He does amazing buffs to D units as well too. So giving him a 7 and an 8, really good unit, guys. Definitely build him if you don't have him yet. Get him from the Tower of Eternity shops. All right, Gara T, probably one of the most pivotal new SRs in the game for PvE. Does really good in PvP as well. Has GR up, has attack up, has DIR on LB2. If you're faster, if you're slower, he's going to give you damage rate reduction. So overall, really good unit for both content, especially NWT. OG Itachi Uchiha, super hard hitting still, 7 and 7, definitely deserves it. His 5k vitality, has great buffs and debuffs. The only caveat with him is you have to kill the opponents to take advantage of his traits and his LB2, so making him a little bit less viable in NWT, but also really still good in both content. Alright, Killer Bee version 2 was really good as a tank, and then Naruto came out, so we gave him a 7 in Arena and a 6 in NWT. The reason why is his biggest part is 50% HP or more on his jutsu. If he loses that, you lose a big piece of his debuff, plus his trait is really low in percentage and it takes a while to stack, so making him better in PvE than in PvP. Alright, so Naruto you are 7 and 7. You guys know how Naruto works already. Really good tank and a hybrid unit for nuking. Naruto Kage SR, complete opposite, a great buffing unit for A units and a really good nuke himself. Alright, going to finish up our 7s here, guys. Orochimaru, or OG Orochimaru, probably the best Orochimaru version. Gives silence, the only unit in the game that with a silence, and that's 60% for 2 turns, and also has attack down and a confuse for 1 unit, and also has fantastic debuffs, guys, like critical suppression rate down, and also if you die he gives you debuffs as well too. So 7 and 7 across the board. Pain gets a 7 and a 6. The only reason why I got a 6 here, guys, is he's a little less tanky than people like Orochimaru. He dies a little faster, but he does hit way harder, but unfortunately the status effects on Orochimaru keep him about the same level. I could even argue Pain being maybe a 7.5 and an 8, but we're going to keep him at a 7 for now. Alright, Sakura Blossom. So Sakura Blossom is a great tribe unit, healer, and has also DRR up and Chakra up. So if you need a Chakra battery and you don't have Sai, Tsunade and her are great choices. She's probably the better of the two in my opinion, but there you go. Tribe gauge, Chakra up, and DRR up, making her great in PvP, especially in NWT if you want to pull off a tribe for extra points, right? Alright, going to Sarada Uchiha. Sorry guys, give me a second here. Let me have a drink. Remember, last day for discounts, guys. Okay, thank you. Sarada Uchiha, 7 and 7. Great buffer, great debuffer against D units. So if you're fighting a tank heavy team, she can actually melt them pretty quickly. So making her actually a really good unit for both debuffing and buffing. Sarada Uchiha, the UR version, a good replacement for Naruto Rin if you need just the confuse aspect of it, but everything else about her is good for buffing. She's a good buffing unit for A units, I believe, but everything else about her kind of makes her even worse in Arena, in NWT, sorry. So Arena, she's not bad. NWT, she's a little more mediocre. Sugetsu, so 7 and 8. Really hard to freaking kill this guy. Really good tank. Hits like a wet noodle though, so if you're looking for damage, he's not the right one to go. But if you're looking for great buffs like GRR, so guard rate up and guard damage rate up, also crit suppression, he actually brings a lot of that to the table for you, making you a lot harder to kill. So that gives him that 7 and 8. Same with Tsunade. If you need a really good healer and a Chakra battery, and somebody who can give you a crit rate up a little bit for your units, your active units, she's really good for that. She has the highest Chakra battery next to Sai in terms of the amount she gives you. So Tsunade, really good healer overall, and actually can provide you pretty good buffs. So we're going now to the 6s, guys. So first up is A. I honestly love A. I think he's an underrated unit. He has a stun. He buffs A units kind of like Hidan does. He hits really freaking hard. So we gave him a 6 and a 6 here. I could have even pushed a 7 for these two, but you know, this is a team effort. We're gonna go 6 and 6 for this. Haku, 6 and 5. A little bit of a glass cannon. Really useful against T units, but kind of drops off on everybody else. So we gave him a 6 and a 5 because he's above average. A lot of people do use T units, so he's above average in Arena. But in NWT, when it's 3-on-3, you may not face any T units, making his liability a lot more, and the fact that he's easier to kill, right? Next up is Jugo. Amazing off healer, almost really super hard to kill because he heals himself as well too every turn. The problem with him is he just does almost no damage. So we gave him a 6 here. He only has crit suppression, I believe, as a buff. The rest of it's all off healing. So 6 there, 7 in arena. All right, guys, we're getting to the 6th page now. More 6s. Oh my god. My boy MS Kakashi Attack. So Kakashi got a 6 and a 6 here because he used to be the best buffer in the game before power creep units came out. So we've given him a 6 and a 6 because he does have attack up. He has a pretty good LB2 and a trait, and his Jutsu is actually really good if you can pull it off. The problem is there's just way better units out there. So 6 and 6, not a bad thing. Kakazu, same thing, was the best AoE unit in the game before Six Tails and Sublime showed up, giving him a 6 and a 5. He's just too much of a glass cannon, but he can still hit really freaking hard with his LB2 and his skill 2 proccing. Kiba, 6 and 7, instant jutsu, guys. Still one of the best rares out there, probably still the best rare out there. So definitely deserves the 6 there. Only reason why he's so low is because he can die really quick. Rare stats are really bad, but he does hit super hard. So 6 and 7 there for you. Kisame, 6 and 6. Honestly, if you need Chakra down, pretty good debuffs and buffs. He's actually not bad. He's moved up quite a bit in the charts for almost all content because we've actually been using him, and you know, he's actually showing pretty good life in terms of being a tank and a debuffer and a buffer with Chakra down. So pretty good there, and you can actually stop instant jutsus with him because his skill 2 does do Chakra down and Chakra up for him. Naruto SR, pretty straightforward, guys. Attack up, defense up, nukes, and also has Chakra up when he kills an opponent. So, or anybody kills an opponent in that cell after he does a jutsu. So pretty stellar. 6 and 7 for Naruto Sage mode, unfortunately. Really good nuke against D units. Pretty selfish on some of the things that he does, but also decent on others. So above average and a little better in NWT. Okay, going to the UR Naruto Kage, 6 and 7. Good tank, unfortunately doesn't give buffs out very much except for 1 turn defense and 1 turn DRR up, and then the rest is all for himself. He's very selfish, so making him have a 6, and better in NWT though because he can heal on his jutsu as well, so 7 there. Oniki, 6 and 6. You guys should know he should be 100 and 100, but that's just a joke, obviously. So Oniki is actually a decent nuke. The problem with him is he's very selfish. He provides no buffs to anybody else but himself, but he can survive. Every passing turn he does have pretty decent buffs to himself. As long as he can have a tank around him, he can actually hit pretty freaking hard. But the problem with him is, of course, he's just a super selfish character, which stays very true to the actual anime and manga. Okay, going to Richimaru, COVID Maru, so 6 and 7. Probably the best debuffer in the game still, in my opinion. Chakra down on skill 2, so you can stop instant jutsus. Doesn't do much damage, of course, but the amount of debuffs that he provides can make or break in an arena team. So definitely deserves a 6 in arena, and even better in NWT if you can pull off his jutsu or get the Chakra down on skill 2. Rock Lee, 6 and 6, pretty average across the board, guys, for damage. Decent tank, does defense up and attack up on himself. He does crit rate up for the units once he does his jutsu, and also he does a lot more damage when he's 50% or less, so he's a little bit of a liability for that. All right, so now we're almost finished up the 6s, guys. 10-10. So incredible R units still, guys. Stun, guard suppression, attack up, DIR up for all allies. So very, very good unit. Only problem is rares have just really crappy stats, right? So provides you a stun at least and everything in the beginning. She'll be a character you can use for quite some time. A little less in NW2, of course, because she does die so freaking quickly. Yamato, 6 and 7. Decent tank overall. Crit suppression, guard rate up. You know, does almost no damage, unfortunately, but overall very easy to get to where you need it to get to, and will provide you the necessities for survivability in NWT. Choji, tribe gauge up, or OG unit. So we give him a 5 and a 6. Like, he can survive, but he's only there really to build you a tribe gauge. Blossom and Jiraiya are just much better at doing it, so you'd want to use them over him. But he's still there, and he still provides you a lot of utility. So 5 and a 6, I think, is a fair mark there. We're actually getting to the 5s. Hinata was the best crit damage character in the game, 5 and 5. Unfortunately, nowadays there's just way better out there for buffs and non-selfish ones, to say exact, and so she's fallen off quite a bit. Brand new Kabuto, 5 and 6. He does give really good debuffs and has a pretty good jutsu. Unfortunately, it's a 3-turn jutsu and it takes a while to build, but his attack down and crit rate down is really good for his trait, so we gave him a 5. So he's an average character. Decent UR, but a little better in NWT because it's 3-on-3 and he can help you survive a little longer. Killer B, 5 and a 4, just overall a crap character. We gave him average because he has a stun and a defense up at that point, and himself has a attack up and a guard suppression up, but just not worth it. 4 here for NWT because, quite honestly, he's pretty damn useless in NWT. Let's see where we got next here. My guy, pretty good in terms of keeping you alive. A good nuke tank especially, but it's an OG nuke tank, so he does a lot less damage than the new ones. But a very good 3-man cell person, so better in NWT, a little bit worse in Arena. Berserk Naruto, just your average nuke, nothing to really say about him. SR RoKage moved up quite a bit, and he's actually added now to the list because you can actually 7-star him since the anniversary and get his weapons. So he's an average tank, a little less in terms of what the UR provides because he has less percentages, plus he doesn't have a heal. So we gave him a 5 and a 6 there. Not bad for NWT if you need a tank that can just soak some damage in. Neji 5 and 6, same scenario. Glass cannon in terms of dying in Arena, and he only provides buffs to the cell that are useful, but he does have chakra up and stuff, so making him a decent character. And same with NWT, because it's 3-on-3, and if he does get a chakra up and such, being an A unit, he hits pretty hard and also can provide you pretty good buffs. Alright guys, getting to the other page here of 5s. Sakura Harano and healing. Defense up, chakra up on skill 2. Overall, an okay character. Blossom just overshadows her by so much. And same with NWT, she's not bad. In PvE though, this character shines. PvP, Papa Sasuke, 5 and 5. Known for tribe specials, really has nothing else going for him besides a heavy wound and a burn. Sasuke Time Revenge Uchiha, 5k. People call him the SR Obito. You all crazy for calling him that. He does almost nowhere near the same damage, but he does have DRR down, has 5k vitality, can do instant jutsu like CM2 and Jiraiya if you have him with Kid Sasuke and Sai, because of the instant chakra that he provides himself. So overall, not a bad character. A little bit better in NWT because it is 3-on-3. If you pair that instant jutsu aspect, making him better. All right, getting to our 4s, guys. So Kabuto, 4-4. Kabuto, he's an off healer with defense down and DRR down on D units if you have it, but his biggest problem is his damage is affected by status effects. So if you don't have a status effect, he does a lot less damage. So 4 and 4 across the board. Kushina, fantastic jutsu. Problem with her is she doesn't buff everybody. She only buffs specific units, only specific buffs with those units. So we're giving her a 4, a little better than 5 because you can control who she's paired with. But with a 9-man team, it's you don't want to build a whole team around her, right? So keep that in mind. Mitsuki 4 and a 3. Stun, heavy wound, attack down, defense down. I mean, pretty lackluster overall. At least the stun gives him a 4, but here he's just way too easy to kill. Mama Sakura, 4 and a 5. The problem is she just gives the craziest, weirdest buffs for a tank. Her AoE heal does almost nothing because she's based off of attack. So we'll give her the 4 here, but a 5 for survivability here for NWT. Zabuza, I mean, pretty mediocre nuke. Nowadays with all the power creep especially, it makes it even worse. So 4 and 4 there for that. 3 and 4 for Hiruzen, has a burn, chakra down if he dies. So he's a gimmick character. If he dies, you get a turn of no chakra for the opponent for a little bit of chakra less, so they don't pull off a jutsu. Much better in NWT obviously because it's more controlled. A little less in Arena. Konkuro got a 3 and a 5. Konkuro was a lot higher before, but because of all the extra units that have defense down and DRR down now, without our power creep, he doesn't match up anymore, especially at this point in the game. But a little better in NWT, of course, because the defense down does help and is a little more controlled, and you can kill one opponent and cause that DRR down for 2 turns, usually ending the entire match, right? And then guys, we're at the last part of the list. Karin got a 3 and a 5. I mean, overall, she gives DRR up on her LB2. She has a decent heal. She gives chakra up. She has a guard rate up on 6 allies or less. So not the greatest healer, obviously. You can see she's got a 3, but much better in NWT because that GRR actually affects right away because you have less than 6 allies, right? Conan 3 and 3, mediocre DRR character with AoE, pretty useless. Orochimaru 3 and a 4. Only reason why I got a 4, guys, is because he's power creep. You can do a little more damage, and he does affect the cell a lot more. But overall, you want to avoid him as a character. 1 and 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 1. So 1 and 2 actually here. So we decided Shino to be 1 and 2 only because he does chakra down, and honestly, in every possible case, you'd use Kisame. Like, there would be no reason for you to use Shino, because remember, we're comparing 7-star SRs to a 6-star LB2. These are all comparisons to a specific rank. We're not talking about what if you have a 7-star Shino and you're using a 3-star Kisame. No, we're talking about 7, 6, and 5, right? So Kisame just overpowers him on everything in terms of what he offers. So I would use Kisame over Shino. The only thing that Shino has, I believe, on his jutsu that maybe Kisame doesn't, I have to double check this, is the chakra down on his jutsu, while Kisame does the buffs and debuffs. I'll have to double check that, and Tamari's pretty damn useless. So there is your PvP arena list. I'm going to go back, guys, and check to see if I can find Kisame real quick. And let's take a look and see if we can actually figure out if he does have chakra down. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've used him in arena, obviously, but other people have, and this is why we have a team of people doing this instead. So bear with me. Where is Kisame? Kisame. Let's go to 5, 4. Is he in 4? Can't be that high. 3. Not that Kisame. I'm talking with the other Kisame. 4. Am I missing him? Am I missing him, guys? Remember, I'm old. I can search it, obviously, so let's do that. Let's search. Kisame. There he is. 6. No wonder I couldn't find him. So here's the beauty of the guide. If you click on the actual tab, guys, you can see the artwork. You can see everything. The Jutsu actually does decrease his chakra. He does. So never mind. I take it back. That's why you use Kisame for every piece of content over Shino. So yeah, there you guys have it. So that is the tier list, guys, for NWT and Arena. This is beautiful, guys, because you can go through here. You can actually check out all the characters. You can go back here. Let's go back for a second to the tier list. And you can actually see what character you have by clicking their names. You can type their names in here. So shout out to my boy Patman for putting this together. It looks incredible. So again, PvP, guys, all done. There are your 1s. There are your 10s. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. If you have any comments, toss it in the comment section. But please, guys, check out nxbnt.com tier lists right here. You guys can do this a lot easier rather than going through all my pictures and all of the Reddit stuff. Just type in what you're looking for here. You can search it by numbers, or you can search it by names. Everything is available to you. All right, guys, this is Payne. Shout out to everybody on the tier list. Shout out to Binato, of course, for the Reddit one. Definitely check that out still if you guys are interested in that one. But this is available to you now, and we'll be doing the PvE version of this tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.